Are these
All set?
wrong ones?
All right, my last official meeting. It will be the only one I ever do that. That's fine. Okay, good evening, everyone. It is 6 p.m. on Tuesday, December 9th, so officially call this board meeting to order. We'll start our time with a roll call.
Aiden Halleck, Senior Student Representative.
Kate Queller, District Director for 2.
Charles Simpson, Director 3.
Carla Hooper, District 1.
Superintendent, Dr. Kansi Pedrosa.
Dave Ison, District 5.
Welcome to all of our guests joining us in person and online. Super glad that you're here. This is a big day for our board, so thanks for being here. We're now going to move to how we start every meeting, which is our land and labor acknowledgement. Would you mind passing that over, and would be honored to read it today. We in the Tukwila School District acknowledge that the land where we teach, collaborate, learn, and play is the traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Duwamish and Muckleshoot people, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish and Muckleshoot tribes. As a public school district, we have a responsibility for the stewardship of this land, and we strive to work alongside the Duwamish and Muckleshoot people who have been living and working here since time immemorial. In our labor acknowledgement, we further acknowledge that the burden of environmental exploitation and systemic injustice falls upon the labor of Black and brown bodies in the building of this country and its institutions. We remember that Black and brown people were born and died working this land against their will for generations. We also acknowledge the continued contribution of the labor of survivors over the centuries to today, of all immigrant labor, including voluntary, involuntary, trafficked, forced, and undocumented peoples in the building of what we refer to as the United States. As a school district leadership, we pledge to recognize and work against systems that have historically and currently enforce and create inequities among the people that we serve. Now to invite those who would like to stand as we salute the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and now to just review our Tukwila School Board values and group agreements. So these are how we have collectively decided that we will be in space and work together. So I'm just going to read kind of the high level here, but if you're interested in what these mean, please definitely do read that extra context. So we value and lean into transparency, courage, righteousness, curiosity, and respect, particularly the centering of humanity. So if I could get a motion to approve the agenda with one small amendment, we're going to have a short report from the superintendent right after the approval of the agenda. So if I could get a motion to approve with that amendment.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the agenda with the amendment to add the superintendent's comments just after the agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
All right. Hi, everybody. So I'm here to share just a couple of things that have been on our minds as a board and the superintendent and the community. So first, I just want to share a little story and why I'm compelled to make a statement. And I usually don't do, I usually use this time to share news, but I feel like this is the time. I just want to share that about 9 to 10 years ago, my daughter, who is a mixed Arab Latina young lady, came home one day sobbing because she was about 15 years of age. And she asked me, why does my country hate me? And I just, as a parent, think about that, imagine a youth asking such a question. So I just keep that experience in my head and my thoughts right now as a reminder of the work that we are here to do. And just over the past few months, there's been a lot of rhetoric on media, so forth, the news, that have targeted multiple communities in deeply painful ways. And most recently, our Somali community has been singled out in a particularly harmful narrative. And so I just want to affirm to our Latino immigrant, Somali, Afghan, and so many other communities who make Tukwila the vibrant district that it is, that we see you, we honor you, and you belong here. These words are not symbolic, they are essential. to many of our scholars and families who are feeling the weight of the messages, and they deserve to hear that we stand with them. And I just want to share that we actually asked staff additionally in our newsletter this week to just do some extra check-in with our scholars, making sure that they're feeling the love from our community and staff members, because that is our role and responsibility as a school district. And I want to add that this message starts at the top. The Tukwila School District Board of Directors here amongst me have been very clear of the values of equity and belonging in our district. And so as a result of that, I just want to make sure I thank the outgoing board members who have consistently made these commitments to our team. And I'm specifically talking about the 3 board members that are leaving. So President Carly Hoover. You have modeled humanity, not only to me during difficult times, but to the staff and scholars of our district. You understand that honoring humanity means that there is growth in learning and growth in understanding. And you listened, you spoke truth to power, and I know this is not the end, that you will keep Tukwila School District in your heart. To Vice President Charlie Simpson. You brought a steady and calm presence to this work. While you were new, you stepped right up to leadership role, and you continued to ask the hard questions that needed to be asked of all of us. You pushed us to be better, and we thank you. Director Kate Kruger. You brought years of experience in public service to our board. During another board transition, you leaned in, you engaged, you learned, you attended instructional rounds in order to support decisions that you knew were near and dear to the heart of our community. So we appreciate your advocacy and know that what you learn here, that you will take back to the city. So we thank you. So I just want to make sure that we thank our board, who is currently a board of distinction in the state of Washington, but I wanted to publicly acknowledge the 3 outgoing board members and the service they've done to our community. And the only thing I'm going to add is that this is our last board meeting before our winter break. Families, please pay attention to the early start dates, the release dates, all of the times. And also that please just have a really wonderful, restful time. If you need resources, contact your schools. And then we'll see everybody back on January 5th. So that's all I have to say. Thank you. Oh yeah, we want to take a picture of the outgoing board members, please. Yeah.
Oh, yes. My friend.
And if you can hold up. Yes, over here.
Over there.
Oh,
Thank you.
oh, then we want to sit it to them.
Down there, I'll send my husband. You want to do it there? Okay, I'll just do that. Yes.
I didn't know where you were.
Directing me to go. Here we go.
Somewhere here,
Let's over here.
somewhere here-ish.
Okay, here, let's get here. There we go. Yep, come on and join us, Dave. And come on, guys.
Of course.
Yay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so before we move to the oath of office, I'm gonna just take a moment. I'm a privilege here just to share a few words. I'll keep it short. So I just had to take a moment to share some words of gratitude and also leave you with a challenge. So we've gone through a lot in the last 4 years since I've been on the school board, certainly before that as well. I came in at kind of the tail end of COVID as we were coming back to school and all of the challenges that we all know that we had to navigate. Everyone knows we were in and out of binding conditions. Can I say that again? In and out. Binding conditions. We have, as a board, I believe, really just solidified our commitment to anti-racism, to equity, to belonging. And some of the ways that has shown up is most recently in our deep commitment to ensuring that we have significant plans in place to ensure the safety of every young person in our system. So serving in this role, I hope that, of course, I'm leaving Tukwila a little bit better than when I found it, but y'all certainly have left me better than when I came here. I've become a more thoughtful leader. I've been challenged to move a lot slower than I would typically, and still more bravely. So thank you for allowing me to move through this work imperfectly, to learn as I go, and to just become better in service of the community. There's a million people that I could thank, but I'm just gonna acknowledge a few. So I want to name Courtney, Debbie, Joe, Andrea, Kimberly, V, Dr. Fremstead, Principal Parker, Aaron, Dr. Herndon, Robin, Principal Noor, Chief Whitbeck, Aaron Herda, Kyla. Again, just to name a few, folks who, when I first came into this district, wrapped themselves around me, encouraged me, again, challenged me, were honest with me. And so I want to thank all of those folks and more who have helped me find my footing, for sharing a part of yourselves with me, and for allowing me, trusting me with your stories and your experiences. Dr. Pedroza, thank you for choosing Tukwila. We're so lucky that you came along, and I'm so grateful that I was a part of this journey with you. You are a leader of integrity, and so it's been amazing to watch you. To this team here in this building, man, I've rarely seen a group of such committed, dedicated, passionate people that move through their work with kindness and care and thoughtfulness and compassion. Deb Clark, who's not here, man, I'm gonna miss you. And also, I couldn't have done this without you. She's your best friend. You guys. Hello. Hi, Deb Clark. Miss you. So to the board members, I've had the privilege to serve alongside Dr. Apoa Ryder, Edna Morris, Jen Bolerjack, Kate Schuler, Terrence Proctor, Charles Simpson, Dave Larson. Thank you for your service to the district, also for coming alongside and modeling what we want to see across our district. It's been an honor to serve next to each of you. To our district as a whole, I really want to challenge us to stay the course, to be brave, courageous, unapologetic, and unrelenting in our pursuit to ensure that young people get everything that they need, that their identities are honored, that they find a sense of belonging in this district. I was reminded the other day of a beautiful passage from a book that I'm going to read really quickly, that just kind of really think sums up the work of anti-racism, or rather, you'll see. So this is from Dr. Beverly Daniel Tatum's book, Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria and Other Conversations About Race. It says, I sometimes visualize the ongoing cycle of racism as a moving walkway at the airport. Active racist behavior is equivalent to walking fast on a conveyor belt. Passive racism behavior is equivalent to just standing still on the walkway, just moving along. I answered that. No overt effort is being made, but the conveyor belt moves the bystander along to the same destination as those who are actively walking. Some of the bystanders may feel the motion of the conveyor belt, see the active racists ahead of them, and choose to turn around. But unless they are walking actively in the opposite direction at a speed faster than the conveyor belt, unless they are actively anti-racist, they will find themselves carried along with others. I say that to remind you to be a group of action, to walk against the grain, because that is what we deserve. That is what the scholars in our community deserve. That's what our community as a whole in our world deserves. And lastly, to our incoming board, I want to encourage and I want to challenge you to continue to lead with courage, to put students at the center of the decisions that we make. We come to this work with our own values, our own things that drive us, our own passions. That should drive you. And we should balance that with the values, the perspectives, the experiences of the communities that we serve. So I challenge you to do that. I challenge you to step into this role as a learner and as a listener. Again, you bring a rich amount of experience, and there's so much that we do not know. And lastly, don't be afraid to challenge the status quo. Remain steadfast and grounded in our district values. So I'll end by just saying, thank you so much for allowing me to serve you for these last 4 years. It has been a true privilege, and it has changed my life for sure. So thank you. Okay, with that, swear some more folks in, shall we? All right, how about, all right, come on up. Make sure this one can,
We're gonna do some transition.
Okay.
Naomi?
It's like my minute and I'm so terrible, but we're gonna get through it.
Yeah.
Wait, just look at I, Ara Papian, have been duly elected to the office of school board director.
I, Ara Papian, have been duly elected to school board director.
Do hereby solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
Do hereby solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Washington and the laws of the state of Washington,
and the laws of Washington and the laws of the state of Washington,
and to faithfully discharge the duties of Board of Director of the Tukwila School District, number 406,
and to faithfully discharge the duties of board director of Tukwila School District 406,
King County, state of Washington, to the best of my ability.
King County, to the state of Washington, to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That last sentence gives me every time. It's so long. Okay, go ahead. Excuse me. Thank you. I, Mitch Forehand, having been duly elected to the office of school board director,
I, Mitch Forehand, being duly elected to the office of school board director,
do hereby solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do hereby solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Washington and the laws of the state of Washington,
and the state of Washington and the laws of the state of Washington,
and to faithfully discharge the duties of the Board of Director of Tukwila School District number 406, King County, state of Washington.
okay, and to faithfully discharge the duties of the board of directors of Tukwila School District number 406, King County, state of Washington, to the best of my abilities.
Was it better to run on?
Mouthful.
I don't know if I got a practice, but.
Yeah.
All right, so please repeat after me. I, Greg Sherlock, having been duly elected to the office of school board director,
I, Greg Sherlock, having been duly elected to the office of school board director,
do hereby solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
do hereby solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Washington and the laws of the state of Washington,
and the state of Washington and the laws of the state of Washington,
and to faithfully discharge the duties of Board of Director of the Tukwila School District number 406, King County, state of Washington, to the best of my ability.
and to faithfully discharge the duties of Board of Directors of the Tukwila School District number 406, King County, state of Washington, to the best of my ability.
All right, so what happens now is we are doing a board transition. So I actually have some treats to help, so if somebody wants to grab treats or not to transition, please help yourself. But we're gonna, as we transition, just give us 5 to 10 minutes, please grab a treat. The new board members will be coming up, we're gonna get everything ready and then take 10 minutes, we're gonna take 10 minutes, so get back here around 6:30 if you have to go to the restroom or anything, or grab a treat. And we'll be starting our agenda at 6:30 promptly, okay? All right, thank you. Yeah, you can do it. Yeah. We're gonna look David a little.
Yeah.
Oh, we can take over. We're fine. Take a treat.
Thanks so much. It's gonna be great.
Okay. So calling back to order the meeting of Tuckahoe School District for December 9th, 2025. And we'll go back into the agenda. Let's see, and we're at public comments. So start with those in the room. Mary Patakis.
This or doing that?
Yeah, I think flip it.
Yeah.
Flip it around.
There you go.
All right. Good evening. My name is Mary Protakis, and I'm a former Tuckahoe School Board Director who sat where you are now sitting for 22 years. I first want to congratulate Directors Papian and Forhan on your elections to the Tuckahoe School Board. It is always awesome to see Foster High School graduates who choose to come back and serve in leadership roles in our community. You are appreciated, and we are so proud of you. I am a past president of the Washington State School Directors Association, the largest association of elected officials in Washington State. I'm a leadership development trainer for WASDA and the National School Boards Association. I have a master's degree in education policy, and I currently serve as chair of the Washington State Board of Education. I share these parts of my bio because I have spent the last 3 decades in an education-centered governance board and have a very good grasp of the leadership skills and responsibilities that are required in this setting. One of these responsibilities is to understand that your words matter. As soon as you take your oath of office, you are no longer simply a member of the public, but one of the faces of the Tuckahoe School District, representing our students, families, and staff, both within this community and externally. Because of this serious responsibility, I felt it was my responsibility to express my deep concern and frankly shock at the words used by Director Sherlock at the August 25th, 2025 Tukwila City Council meeting during their public comment period. I quote from the recording. At minute 55:27, Tukwila is so ghetto. At minute 56:49, is Tukwila so ghetto? At minute 58:17, this city which suffers from a ghetto perspective. At minute 59:07, let's not make Tukwila ghetto. While these words were uttered 3 months before you were sworn in, your status has changed as of this evening. This language is unacceptable for an elected official to be using to describe the community that they are representing and supposedly serving. None of the 3,136 Tukwila residents who cast a vote for school board elections last month had a choice as to whether you would be sitting in this seat because you ran unopposed. However, it should be noted that King County certified elections report stated that 1,021 people chose to either not cast a ballot for you or wrote it in an alternative. That's 32.56%, basically a third of the total ballots cast. Clearly, I'm not the only person who is unhappy with the way you have described our community. I urge you to take advantage of the many training opportunities provided to do better, to spend time with our wonderful students and families and the staff who work hard to support them. They are so much more than your words have labeled them. I will close with your own words from the same public comments. At minute 58:32, when you were chastising specific members of the city council for their positions on an issue, you said, I hope that when people see you in public, they'll call you out. I see you and I'm calling you out. Thank you.
And we have one comment that was submitted via the form from Vanessa Zepatil, who's the current president, outgoing president of Tukwila Pool Metropolitan Park District. And she says, the Tukwila Pool Metropolitan Park District wants to thank the community for speaking with such positivity and passion regarding the Tukwila Pool during the 11/25/25 Tukwila School District Board meeting. It is humbling to hear the profound impact the facility has had. We remain committed to the Tukwila TPMPD mission to provide a welcoming public aquatics facilities managed in a fiscally responsible manner with a focus on educating all ages in the lifelong skills of water safety. We carry out this mission with the board and the staff who are compassionate, inclusive, and responsive to the needs of our diverse community, working to foster positive and lifelong experiences with aquatic environments. We would also like to offer clarification regarding several statements made by TSS directors. Ground lease background, the lease under which the Tukwila School District and the TPMPD currently operate was executed in 2011. While the facility was under the city of Tukwila ownership, it has only had one amendment adopted in September 2025. and related to parking, the parking procedures after the TSC significantly increased the number and scope of outside rentals of the stadium and the PAC. The lease term length has never been changed, process and transparency. The TPMPD has worked throughout the past 2 years with TSD leadership to provide timely information, ensure all procedures are followed. We remain committed to clear communication collaborations to support the board and community in making informed decisions. Communication, while most discussions occurred during quarterly partnership meetings with MPD leadership, executive director and board president, and TSD leadership, superintendent and CFO. The TSD board president was also copied on several key email communications regarding the potential land purchase and options under consideration. The TSD ensured the TPMPD that the TSD board was being regularly updated. Land purchase discussions about land purchase was initiated and proposed by the TSD in spring 2025 as a solution to address the challenges of right to recapture lease language and to provide long-term security for a $30 million taxpayer investment. These discussions were further documented in a memo from the superintendent presented to the TPMPD at the April 30, 25 quarterly partnership meeting and presented to the TSD board at their May 13, 25 board meeting. Throughout the leadership discussions, the TPMPD was consistently forthright about the 12/31/25 deadline associated with the King County grant contract, which required timely action. The timeline for bringing an offer forward to the TSD board in November was determined by the TSD, and the TPMPD followed that schedule accordingly. The TPMPD remains committed to continuing to serve as a strong and reliable partner to the TSD, as we have consistently demonstrated. We look forward to ongoing collaboration for the benefit of the students and the broader community we both serve. I'll just make a brief comment that I'm going to recommend, since we have 3 new board members, that we get on our agenda something in probably January to bring everybody up to speed on where the situation with the pool, what's going on and where we are. I understand the pool district is also undergoing some change in leadership. So I think everybody is committed to keeping a pool facility in this city, and hopefully we'll be able to work together, and we're all committed to figuring out how to do that in a way that's economically viable for all the partners. So that's all the public comments we have for tonight. So I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So, second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Consent agenda is approved. Now we're going to go into the board goals. This is something that, so just for the new board members, we've got a Saturday retreat scheduled for January, one of the Saturdays in January, and there's a bunch of documents, and I think hopefully you have, a number of them, and we traditionally review these every time there's new board members come on, and so we'll, be reviewing this. This item here was just to let you know that we have, these are the board goals from last, and we can review them and we can discuss them in more detail and, put our own stamp on it if you like, going forward in January. So I don't know if anybody have any particular thoughts on this, but that's kind of what the plan is. Okay. Same thing with the board operating agreements. These are documents that we've developed over years, and we tend to review them whenever there's a new board that comes in. And so, again, we'll probably do this at the board retreat in January, but just to give you an idea of what's come in that regard. And the next item, the cannabis shop. So I think all of you have been to enough of the meetings, this issue with the city, and they've opened up for more cannabis shops to be available in the city. The concern that I had is around how close they were to bus stops. There's state law prohibits them within 1,000 feet of a school, but there's nothing in state law about bus stops. And so, our transportation director has reviewed it. We got some communication from the city that said, the recommendation that came back from our transportation director was that we should ask for a 1,000 feet barrier between county shots and school bus stops. There was apparently I'm not sure what, this is our transportation director. She looked at some maps that were not totally accurate. I know when I looked at the first maps of where the cannabis shops could be from the city, it was pretty confusing. I asked for clarity and they came up with the current map, which is a lot clearer, but there still seems to be a little confusion about where these things are. So the superintendent, Dr. Rose, has set up a meeting with our transportation director and the city to kind of clarify some of these issues so that hopefully we can bring this item back after we have a little more clarity. And then we can talk about the concerns about, the main concern is just keeping it away from our bus stops is the main thing. And there may be, there's nothing in the ordinance as I read it that deals with that, but there may be something in their procedures and how they give licenses out. I don't know. So anyway, we'll get some more information on that. If that sounds, I don't know, anybody have any other thoughts on that? Like I say, well, this will come back to us probably in January, and we could get, hopefully have all the information available at that time.
Yeah, President Larson, I just want to say you did a great job on that letter. Thank you for going for the extra effort to put that together.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we'll now go into what we call the questions only presentations. And the other thing you guys can think about, how we structure the meetings. It's open for discussion when a new board comes in. If there's ideas for different ways to do it or something, we can again talk about that at the retreat. But what we do is we have a number of items here you see under questions only, where we assume that y'all will have read the material, and then we do have a process. Hopefully you saw that when Ellen sent out the notice for the meeting that we have a Google Doc, and when you review the materials, there's questions that you come to mind that you can kind of give the staff a heads up on. You can put them in that Google Doc and they review them on Monday and provide answers to some of them. So all this is to try and make the meeting more efficient, so we don't have to stay, because there was times, I've been on this board for a long time, and there's times where we've, been staying till 10 or 11 at night, which exhausts all the staff and exhausts everybody. So we try to avoid that. And this is a way to kind of make things a little more efficient. So, and you can also save, you can ask the questions now. We'll go through them one by one, and you can check the questions. I usually put in a bunch of them, anyway, so with that said, the school safety plan, does anybody have any questions on that? That's Chief Whitback, Scott Whitback, who's our Chief Academics Officer. I don't know if anybody got any particular, this is actually one we reviewed before.
Yes.
And so it's just, I think, from my perspective, it's just, you just cleaned it up a little bit.
Right.
So, but if any of the new members have any questions, this is, safety is of course a primary concern, and particularly in today's times and everything. So, I don't know, if anybody had any questions on this?
I'll have to review them for, actually sit down and go through it step by step.
President.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just would like to ask, has the Tukwila Police Department or the Puget Sound Fire Regional District, have they gone through any of these documents? Have they had the opportunity to review it, make any comments in the past?
I'm a member of the COPTAB group, the Police Advisory Group of Citizens.
Okay.
And I've shared some of the information of our planning with the chief driver and deputy chief Lund, but then the community group who's there. So I've been on my group for a couple of years now. So we've got some feedback that way. We haven't yet with the fire department, but that's on my to-do list. So I do want to, we know we have some things, this is a good working document. It's enough to really handle the, made it more likely in the more high risk things that could happen, but we still know we always will have things to refine.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's nothing else. Let's see, I think this is on our, oh no, we don't approve this, okay. So we'll move to the next one. This is the monthly financial report that is produced every month by our chief financial officer. Of course, the big news on the financial front for this meeting is that we officially came out of binding conditions with a letter from the Puget DSD and the superintendent of public instruction. And I don't know, we may be the first, I think we were one of the first ones in, we were probably one of the first ones out. Is that, you know?
I believe we were the second one in and the second one out.
Okay.
Yes, so O'Connor, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Was in and they've also exited before us.
But they were in for about a good 6 months ahead, I think a good 6 months to a year ahead.
Yeah, and so
I think we're the shortest time.
I'll tell you.
I want to also add, I made this joke that on the board of O'Connor School District is also a Pedrosa, my cousin's wife, just saying. I just had to say it, I love it.
So for the new board member, first of all, the work on kind of getting our financial system back in shape is not done.
No.
This is kind of the minimal thing to start with this out of kind of what would be called school district bankruptcy essentially. But there's still, you know, we still have more work. Our board policy says we want to get a fund balance of 6%. So we've got a little ways to go to get to there. And there was a lot of things done to get us out of binding conditions that hopefully we'll be able to restore. We have class sizes that are big. We have some positions that we lost and staffing that's greatly reduced. And so hopefully we'll be able to get some of those straightened back in place to start to get some of it back. But we'll have to see how that goes. The other thing, I would encourage the new members to look at our board handbook. Part of the question for me is always, how could we have prevented ourselves from getting into that in the first place? And the board handbook has a bunch of things that we've come up with to kind of look for, to watch in these financial statements. And so hopefully you can review those and have questions come back. But how we can avoid coming. I will tell you that one of the best ways to keep our financial system in order is to have an outstanding chief financial officer. Which that was part of the reason. There's a whole variety of reasons how we got into it, but one of the reasons was we didn't have the best chief financial officer at the time. So that's really helpful. And so,
just reading the audits from the state would be also a key thing to check.
The problem I've always had with the state audits are way after the fact. And so by then, it's kind of too late. So that's why we're working on things to look for before we ever get to that point. Because they're looking backwards a year and sometimes that's kind of too late. But that's definitely take a look at those. And I think every year the board has the opportunity to meet with the auditors when they finish their audits, and you can look at, they don't audit everything, but they audit some things each year. And so it's a good thing to go. I've been to a zillion of them. I'm kind of tired of going through them, but it's good.
Ready to go.
Yeah. But if you guys want to, that will come up. I don't know. I guess we passed our latest exit audit. Is that?
So yes, Amy Fleming, CFO. So yes, we did. They were a little late on
Okay.
Exiting the accountability portion, we were able to meet the single audit deadline. So they did exit on time on that one back in May.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm working with them to get them in a little bit earlier this year, just because we're upgrading to the new cumulative system. So trying to do both is going to be a little chaotic.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get them in earlier.
I don't know, do you think that when we go to so right now, the system that does our financials and is also our student information system is called Skyward. And we'll be moving to something called Cumulative. It's a very, yeah, right. You try and look at the acronym, it's anyway. And I don't know, you think that's gonna change? It'll probably change how some of these reports look? No? Okay.
No, that report that you referenced right there that you turn to is the budget status report. That is required through the Washington Administrative Code, and so that cannot change. That is a static report.
Okay.
That's been established by law that we must present on a monthly basis. So that's why you see that canned report that's a printout. It's just because it's a requirement by state code.
And just very quick, the school district has 4 primary funds that are in that report. The one is the big one that we watch is the general fund, but there's also the Associated Student Body ASB fund, which our friend Mr. Alec is intimately involved with, and with the students. I mean, obviously, our CFO oversees it, but the students, have a big hand in how that money is spent and what it's used for. And so, if you want to know the details, I guess, are you going to come to us one time and present your findings at some point?
Maybe,
Yeah,
if you want
hopefully.
that.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. It'd be very informative. And then the other 2 are the capital projects, which is, that's the money used for maintenance on big maintenance projects. And then the debt service, we, obviously every school district has bonds that have been outstanding in our case, the last one was to remodel Foster High School and Showalter and some of the elementaries. And so, as taxes come in from the taxpayers, they need to go out to the bondholders and go through the debt service fund. So those are the 4 main funds that you'll see in the monthly financial report. So, I don't know, anybody, go ahead.
Question, Amy.
Sure.
Are these the vouchers that we'll always get for the monthly?
Yes.
And close?
Yes, and so those are something that I review. Obviously, you see my signature on every single one of those vouchers. That process is actually, I review every single invoice before that is even generated. And so I'm doing a very thorough review of what we're paying out each and every month. So you'll see my signature as auditing officer. And then it comes to you for you all to review and approve in the minutes or in the board meeting, sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no other questions, and just stay up here. So the next item C is financial forecast, and that's kind of, that's a one to kind of keep an eye on in terms of the projection for how it looks like we're gonna end the year. I guess I have it somewhere. It's a much briefer one, but the main thing we're watching, or one of the things we're always watching, is the fund balance. Are we looking good? And that's the big one that, if the fund balance starts getting shaky, you want to catch that early. It's one of those early indicators.
Correct. That is correct. And so this report also provides you just a brief update. So what it's doing is when the budget was adopted, we had a set of assumptions. The process starts in early March, ends usually around July, but then things change, obviously. So what this does is give you the most updated version of what is happening in the district so that you have the financial projections. So what I do is I provide the information of what has changed in this projection report based on as compared to when the budget was passed. So that's kind of the gist of this, and then to also let you all know what we're thinking and how we think we might end the year. Obviously, September, October is really early months. September, we're always focusing on closing the fiscal year Indy before, and so there's not a lot of activity in September, but as we start rolling in the year, this will get updated with more and more information.
So school district fiscal year goes from September 1 to August 30th. Just to confuse, because it's not the calendar year, also not the state fiscal year. You know, it's just to keep us totally confused, but that's the way it is.
So these aren't necessarily actually secured grants. So something like I'm saying here, the McKinney, Vets at Home CU 048,000 to reflect new grant award, is that awarded or is that?
Yeah, so that was a newly awarded. So for example, the Heritage Grant went from 25,000, so that was what was budgeted, and we
Yeah.
dropped it to 0 because there was, the state decided to eliminate the funding.
Gotcha.
And so what I try to do each month is just update this with the latest and greatest information. The latest for November is that we did receive $100,000 for a planning component of a summer school for the Puget Sound ESD. So that has been reflected. We actually received the money yesterday. So we learned about it in November and we received some checks. So we can use that for planning purposes for summer school this year.
So one of the interesting thing about school district budget or, spend it is grants can kind of come and go at various times in the year, which you might think, well, how do we develop a budget if you got that going on? And there's this a funky category called capacity, which I had to figure out, which I don't know, when we start to get into the approval of budget, you'll see that the CFO has a little cushion in there so that we don't have to reapprove the budget all the time, and allows for that kind of give and take that goes on. Obviously we like to get grants, but if the grants are too much and it kind of, the budgets are formally approved each year, and once, if you go outside the parameters of them, then we have to go through a process to reapprove it, which the CFO never likes to do, and we don't like to do because it's extra work, but anyway, it's just the way, school district funding works. There's these things that come and go, and so here's where you can see some of the documentation of it, so.
Understood, thank you.
All right.
Question on the last,
Yeah, sure.
just budget revenue. Does the ending balance roll over each fiscal year for the projected funding balance, for instance, 3.7 at does that figure 3.7 million? Does that, once we're in August 30th, is that going to roll over to the next fiscal year?
Yeah, so any fund balance would be the equivalent fund balance for the next year. So it's kind of like our savings account.
Perfect.
I think it's similar to probably what you
Yeah,
experience
exactly.
in higher
Making
ed,
sure
so-
the terminology is the same
Yeah,
thing across the board. So,
exactly.
Thank you.
Okay, move on to review of strategic plan. So this is Chief Whitbeck. So I think this is another one that should, let's see, it's just an update from, I mean, we kind of already saw this, but for the new members, it's, we'll get into, I imagine as part of the retreat, we'll be reviewing the strategic plan, which kind of the main document that drives the district in terms of what we're trying to get done. And associated with that are various measures that are, presented here. And then we kind of review them each year to see, did we meet them, did we not meet them, and then why did we not meet them, or if we met them, and all that kind of stuff. So this is just presenting all the measures that we had attached to the strategic plan. And so, like I said, we can kind of review all these in the retreat. Yeah.
We wanted to make sure this was presented last month, and the strategic plan is on the website, but we just wanted you to, because you weren't formally here, just put this in front of you again. So one of the things we do, and what we will also do in the coming year, is starting in January, we will have the second Tuesday of the month, we're going to have a work session where we unpack each goal. So each goal will be brought in front of you. We will share in a conversation style, actually, at a work session to discuss our strategic plan goals And what we do is we always do a mid-year analysis of our goals of how we are doing. So we'll come and bring that information to you. We will share with you if we're progressing nicely or if we learned something else. Just an example of that is last year, based on the information we had, we found that we were meeting our goals around anti-racist discipline. We were meeting our goals on belonging. We had some positive trends of growth data for our science, for other things, but other areas, we learned, okay, we need to pivot. And what we learned is it was actually our MLL learners that were struggling the most. So we then we shifted our strategies this year to be more intentional. So just want to share the process. So you'll get this as a high level overview, but we will actually unpack each of these goals in a work session starting in January. And what I love is actually we'll also have schools come and present where they are mid-year alongside the work session. So you get to hear a school perspective on what they're doing with their school improvement plan, and then you'll get to hear a district perspective on the district strategic plan. And hopefully you'll see where it all nests together. So that's the goal, is to see that it's all nested and that they're all interconnected. But we want to unpack that in work sessions more deeply. So that's what will be the goals of those work sessions. And I think the first one is high achievement for all. Is that the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be the first one. So that's the main academic goal of the strategic plan. So
the other thing that's one of the chief responsibilities of the school board is to evaluate the superintendent, and we do that twice a year, once probably next month-ish or so. Middle of the year is kind of an informal one, and then at the end of the year, July, August is the formal one. And one of the evaluation tools that we use is the strategic plan and whether the goals have been met or not and so forth. So, and we actually have come quite a long ways. It wasn't that long ago that we didn't really have these particular goals in place. And so it's going to be, I think, a lot better way to evaluate the progress of the school district and the superintendent now that we have these in place, and they're pretty nicely color coded. Thank you. Makes them easier to read for us. So that's the other big use of the strategic plan and the goals, is to see how we do the evaluation of the superintendent.
Thank you for breaking that down.
And yeah, we'll be digging down into the details of all of them and talking about, why these were picked versus other things, but.
Yeah, it looks like our MLL students had the, biggest drop, so I think that's a big area to look at.
Yeah, and what I've always, for a long time ago, I said, you can tell how well our district is doing by how well our MLs is, because they're about 50% of our students. So it's important for us to, and we have some measures that we can dig into the state provides, and we picked some of them to use. And so anyway, we'll be looking a lot at that.
yeah, we created a goals, strategic professional development goals around that specifically in all the content areas. So we'll talk more about that later.
And I'm just saying right before, I will say, Dr. Pedrosa is one of the state's premier experts in that particular subject area. And that's one of the reasons that we picked her, because it's a really good match with what our students. And so she can give you lots of good information about best practices and what we're trying to get to with it. So great.
Good. You answered my question. Thank you.
Okay. Summer school, I guess we're still, you don't need to move. So this is also cheap with Dex. So, and here. So you want to introduce yourself here?
I'm Garrett Fishner, superintendent intern and summer school program manager.
So this is one of the programs that, as you can imagine, is really important for this district because of the demographics that we serve. A year-round school is concept. Unfortunately, we don't have enough money to do as big a school as some schools as we would like, but there was the focus this year, of course, on MLL students. And there was some really nice, there's some of the measures of, it was what, a 3-week school this year? 4 weeks, okay. And there were some measures, the focus, of course, was on reading and math, and in secondary, I think there's a lot of focus on science. And so, I don't know, if you wanna maybe just, since we have new people, just briefly talk about some highlights.
Go ahead. Okay, yeah, we made some big strides, I think, last year, that we can really build on. We quadrupled our enrollment, from the year previous, thanks to some additional funds we were able to devote to it last year. And
Which is why this grant for this new 100,000 grant, that's really helpful.
It's
Well,
super
for next year,
helpful,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and it will set us up very well for next year. We were able to then run two sites, and we had, we enrolled 600 students, and 500 of them attended kindergarten through the 11th grade. And what you can see in this report is that we really posted not just some ability to hold the line against summer slide, but we were really able to put in place some English language development, and that posted some significant gains.
So just
for reading.
that's a technical term, summer slide. I don't know if you've heard that or not, but it's a well-known thing in education. When students go away for summer, they forget a lot of things. And so there's always you talk to the teacher who's comes back after summer, they got to spend a certain amount of the time in the fall reteaching things that the students forgot from the, and so, there's a whole discussion in the profession about what's called year-round school, which is not really year-round school, not really more school days, but it's avoiding that massive 4 or 5, 2-month break in the summer.
Right.
That's just too long because students forget things, and so there's ways to do that. That's another whole discussion, which require in this area require a lot of work because everybody's kind of stuck in on this. August to June thing, but anyway,
Right, but
I just wanted to point out, in case you went to the summer slide, it's kind of the learning, all the stuff that the students forget and then have to be retaught at the beginning of the school year.
Right, and for families, many immigrant families, I remember going to the Riverton Church to recruit students, and there I was explaining to parents that they were facing over 2 months of no school, and we really needed them to understand the significance of that. And that was it was explaining that summer slide concept to families who hadn't faced that in the same way before. So we were able to address that, and what we did this year, rather than assess kids at the beginning of summer school and then at the end of summer school, where then they were facing August for potentially to lose everything that we taught. We were really interested in how they were able to then transition into their next grade level. So we looked at iReady scores from spring, their spring diagnostic scores, and then their fall diagnostic
Yeah, so just a double set on iReady. So the state provides reading and writing, or reading and math and science tests once a year, which happens at the end of the year.
Those are the summer
So
tests.
in our district, we have what are called, some people object to this term, but formative assessments. So we test 3 times a year, aside from the state test, which uses this product called iReady, which also is the curriculum in elementary schools. And so we do it 3 times a year to just kind of gauge how the students are doing in primarily reading and math. And so, if you by using that, if by test the last test of the year is usually April, May-ish. This is for grades kindergarten through 8th grade.
8th grade.
High school is a different thing, but kindergarten through 8th grade, and then we test them at the beginning of the year, September-ish. And so there's that period of there where the last month of the school year, and then summer school, and then maybe 1 month. So if you can, that's typically where this summer slide gets hits. But if you can avoid that, and we have some nice numbers here that said in a lot of cases, we managed to avoid that by sliding this summer school in the middle there, which is really good.
Exactly. Those two terms are terms that you're going to hear a lot: summative assessment and formative assessment. So that summative is just the end of the year, once a year, and the formative is what gives us information along the way. So we can really build on this information. We can use it to plan for next year. One of the things that strikes me, if you look at the charts on page 6 of this report, is how different every grade level is. This was by no means consistent in how a curriculum was used, and I think if we were able to dive deeper into individual student performance, we might, be able to get at that by understanding the differences between the classrooms. This is exactly what I think is the challenge to us for next year, is to address this kind of inconsistency between grade level and this new grant that we are developing. It's called the Summer Discovery Grant. Will allow us to do that. It comes with a summer designed curriculum and specific training to the teachers in the curriculum.
So this is how we can use data to figure out, as Gary was saying, there's a whole variety of variables that go into instruction. Obviously, the teacher is one, the curriculum is one. Another big one that I was going to ask about was attendance. And this is not just Tukwila School District, but ever since COVID, there's been a significant downturn in attendance, and it's tough to provide instruction if the students aren't showing up to school. So, and in this, there was some stark discrepancies between like the elementary. So we had elementary school was going on at Thorndike, and the secondary school was going on, both middle school and high school was going on at Showalter. And there's, I noticed the attendance was significantly different. Elementary school is much more attendance, but you can break that down even by class and so forth. So they're trying to decipher the variables that produce the excellent results and figure out how to replicate that, for all the others. So summer school is, we've over the years, I think it's fair to say that we've had the best results when, our teachers have taught summer school. Summer school opens up and we can get teachers from all different places that may want some extra money in the summer. And the students or the staff that knows our students, not surprisingly, usually ends up producing the best results. But we don't always, a lot of people like to take their summer and take it off. So anyway, there's a lot of variables that are dynamic variables that are going in here. But I went around and visited some of the classrooms, and some of our staff that was in there, it's very impressive work that they did in the summer to produce some of these results. So it's not magic, and so we need to figure out how to do more of the good stuff. And so
you're absolutely right. If we can create conditions though that allows us to recruit Tukwila teachers first. This year we did manage to get about 75% of our teaching staff were Tukwila employees or regular substitutes in the system. I think
which is a pretty good. I think
it was pretty good. But I think some of
the
advantages the middle school math teachers were immediately able to develop a curriculum for themselves, which fed right into the classes that they were teaching. The high school teachers used a graphic organizer concept that has now been aligned throughout the other departments there. So
the other thing that was really interesting, because I went down to the middle school, we had a bunch of students from the University of Washington Education. These are future teachers. And they were down there en masse. So,
90.
One of the things that we know is that
I think we have more teachers than we have teachers.
yeah, that's what's going on in the elementary
Teachers is
schools,
great.
and, you know, if you can get those class sizes down, we know that works, and so, and then also, if we can use it as a recruiting tool, and for our HR director, you know, get some of those, young teachers into the system is also a really good benefit of that as well.
I've talked with Mr. Camacho about the possibility of bringing in some of our future teacher students into the.
And that was stark by contrast when I went up to the middle school, there were, you know, massive classes and, you know, there wasn't as much direction and so forth, so on. So, I mean, some of this stuff is not rocket science. It's a matter of, can we take advantage of some of those opportunities? I'm not sure who latched onto the UW opportunity, but I didn't, were they free or did we have?
No, free.
No, they were free and they latched onto us because
Okay.
Bellevue, where they had normally gone,
Okay.
canceled their summer school, but now they're locked in and they'll be
They're
back
not
next
teaching.
year.
And I will add, we actually, some of them have chosen to do their
Yes.
internships here.
They're-
So we have some of them doing their internships here. And like after they spent the summer with us, like, this is where I want to be. So I think that's also really great too.
Right.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
40% of them are multilingual teachers themselves. And so.
Yeah, it's another huge advantage.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if they can speak the language of our, I mean, not just.
It was great. It was funny when we went to the open house, it was like massive number of interns and we're like, whoa. But yeah, it was a great benefit to the district because you had lots of more adults supporting scholars, right, in the classroom and people who actually were really eager to learn about Tukwila and then now invest in Tukwila, which I think is awesome.
President Larson, can I ask you a quick question?
Yep.
When students miss school during the regular school year, I understand that there's either a text message to their parents or a phone call or something of that nature. Is that same system used during the summer courses as well?
No.
Okay.
No, for
If you were talking,
that kind of
I
attendance.
know I'm taking a step back, but we were talking about that there were a number of students, particularly in the high school, junior high level, that were not attending the summer school or they were attending periodically.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Could that be?
So I think, yeah, we've got to wrap our mind around the attendance issue.
Sure.
For next year. Some of the issue that we faced this year was just in the registration of these students. We were pretty late in the game this last year in getting everybody into classes. We did get everybody into classes. There's often a big change on the first day.
Sure.
In terms of who shows up, whose plans have changed and that kind of thing. But I think that, in addition to, you know, as was noted in the board questions, if we can address the start time for middle schoolers, that could be
Yeah.
tough.
The 7:30 AM start time
with
for
the transportation
teenagers is.
For the teachers too.
Exactly. So that started at 7:30 this year for all secondary students and may have been a contributing factor. So,
Yeah, so it is, yeah, constantly trying to adjust and learn and make it better.
Yeah,
So-
a last point I would just note to you is that we were able to also continue the learning into August with about 40 families through family tutoring. A bunch of teachers continued twice a week at the Riverton Church, working with families, and they did tutoring in family units, kind of, so that it was cross grade and really involved the parents in learning about what their students were encountering at school and got them interacting with the teachers, a number of teachers, especially from Cascade View. And so that was really a great continuation of that learning. And we think we can continue that at the beginning of this next calendar year to go into summer. And that will set us up well.
So the only other, the one other point, if you read through this, you would see they're talking about scale scores. Scale scores mean nothing to almost anybody. Which I'm always prodding to translate that if it's not exact into grade levels. About 25 points is about half is about a grade level in scale score, plus or minus. Because, and so the fact that some of these students were going up in between these 2 points, like half a grade level, that's a huge number to go up. And so the other thing I would, you, in both reading and math, you said, about half of them were going up by the numbers and half of them were going down. I'd definitely like to drill a lot more into what are the students that are going up by that. This was all group, from K through 8. So we need to break it down by, and I guess there was some by grade level and find out, I mean, is that mostly due to, were most of the ones that were making half the grade level, the middle school students that maybe weren't coming to school, or, and the group that was making the high grade level,
Right.
it probably was, students in the elementary that had a really good math curriculum, had one of our staff on something. I don't know that this, for me, this, generated a whole lot of more detailed questions, which we don't necessarily need to do at the board level, but, when you're doing the evaluation for next year, I would like to know which, because there's fairly dramatic difference.
Yeah. In my mind, it's really how do we know our students, and that's what I think we're learning more and more from iReady in terms of how teachers can work with that data.
Yeah.
The grant that we have in place for next year actually does have an assessment on the first day and the last day that is given, and that, but the fact that it's at the first day will also set us up well to kind of know who those students are. I looked at that and, as a former principal, what I really didn't have was the kind of information that I would normally have in my building about, what the history of that student has been, where has that student been,
Right.
Over the last 5 years, and so is this growth really dramatic growth, or is it more on the trajectory they've been in? Is it different, and what might be the markers for that? So I think with an assessment at the beginning that gets our teachers engaged in that process, and really setting some goals in terms of how students are learning, that I think will help us.
Okay, any other questions from school?
Just something that I'm reading here on page 3. So is this data based on of the 304 students that have enough data to analyze, or is this over?
This is those students who have enough data to analyze, and so specifically, it's not the high school students.
Gotcha.
Because we only give iReady through 8th grade.
I understand.
And so, and also if there was a student who was new to our system before and had not taken iReady in the spring.
Thank you.
Can I just add, the reason we only give it K through 8 is because the makers only publish materials and assessments up to grade 8 content.
Okay.
So it's the limitation is the product.
Just a point of confirmation, you said that after 4 weeks is done, then there's programming in August, which is essentially voluntarily, right? Because one of the threats is obviously changes in funding trying to offer accessibility for summer programs. So it's after 4 weeks that's over, then you rely on really volunteers in August.
Right. The grant for next year will make 5 weeks possible. So that's a little better.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Now we're going to Principal Parker and the foster team. You all could just maybe introduce yourselves. I think they know who you are, but just in case.
Absolutely. I'm Latonia Parker, principal of Foster High School. And I'm Naz Rokonaki, assistant principal.
And this is under the category of presentation. So this one, they'll actually go through kind of side by side. And then we can, if it's all right, we can ask questions as we go along.
Absolutely. Thank you. We'll just share our slide with our district. Strategic plan actually raises goals Two areas of focus for Foster that were selected by our race and equity team are the anti-bias discipline through restorative practices and re-engagement opportunities. Our goals with selecting those two are to elevate the voices of scholars and engagement by creating space for scholar voice. Scholars at Foster are instrumental in planning all of our school-wide events, part of our leadership team, and clubs and activities. So in our report this evening, you will see our progress toward our goal matrix for our focus scholar groups, which are 9th grade on track, including ELA and math, our math passage rates for Algebra 1, as well as our financial aid and scholarships, our dual credits and post-secondary enrollment, and updates on that, as well as our world language credits awarded in ML English proficiency, and our class of 2025 graduation outcomes. So in this report, you'll see data from our 24-25, as well as included will be some trends from previous years. So here before you, you have our 9th grade on track, including our ELA honors. Last year was our first year of piloting the 9th grade ELA honors program for all. And this year we rolled that program up to 10th grade honors for all. So in looking at our data for 24-25, our 9th grade on track, you'll see as reported through OSPI that we have a 66.80% of scholars who are on track to graduate. It's important to note that the data from OSPI accounts for any 9th grader who was enrolled at Foster, even if they withdrew. So our actual school-wide Foster data for 9th graders who enrolled and earned all their credits and completed the entire year for 24-25 is a little bit higher. It's approximately 71%, but OSPI reports it a little bit differently. So I think we need to figure out like how we want to report that data. So it is higher.
So just to be clear for you guys, 9th grade on track means you've passed every one of your courses. So if you fail one, then you're not on track. And just to give you an idea, actually at the WASDA annual conference, I went to a session that was given by Shoreline, and just to kind of back this up a little bit, so this was measured, so there's a group called the Education Research Data Center, which tracks all students after they graduate from high school and where they go to school, what job they get. It's an amazing data set, and it goes to what earnings they've earned, everything they track, because we can do that in the state because we have student IDs, so we can literally track them on all the way through. And one of the interesting things they have is that, what are the probabilities of getting some type of secondary degree or credential when you graduate? And if your high school GPA is greater than 3, then in this district, you're this would be like, was that 69? Yeah. 69% chance of, so almost 70% chance of getting a post-secondary credential of some sort. Whereas if it's less than 3, it's only about 31%. So, and when you start backing that up, I mean, I've talked to a lot of students over the years that, if they fail for whatever reason, they're messing around, whatever, in their freshman year, that can pretty easily destroy your GPA for the whole year. And so that's why this particular, and I applaud you for focusing on this one, because this is the early warning indicator. I mean, if a student is failing a class, we get support to them as quickly as possible so that they don't do that. Because I mean, when you start pushing that down the line, that reduces significantly their chance of being successful. So this is really a key. And you know, I asked for the trend, and it went down a little bit, but now you're going up, and you know, these numbers don't go up by magic. So I'm curious what you attribute, you know, this last year to significant increase. I mean, I know you're doing a number of things. Can you just kind of say some of the things that may be pushing this number back up?
Sure. So a couple of things. We have hired a re-engagement specialist last year, who is a person who supports scholars when we see the early warning indicators around attendance, behavior, academic disengagement. We also have a co-teaching model that we've implemented over the last couple of years, where we have our special education teachers as well as our ML teachers co-teach within our content area courses. We have a reading interventionist who supports in our ELA classrooms and provides academic support and interventions for our scholars who are struggling academically. And I also just want to add that we have a phenomenal math teacher and other teachers who support and provide academic interventions and access for after-school programming. So we have an after-school program that runs 4 days a week, where scholars can go and get additional support as well.
And we have seen at times, I know, you know, one of the questions is, oh, if they fail the course, which course is it? Frequently, sometimes it's math, not always, but sometimes it's, so that's a stumbling block for a lot of students. And so having that extra support is a really good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, yeah, the other drill down is, the by race and so,
So what you see, yes, is the ninth grade on track, segregated by a 4-year trend by race. And you'll note that 2025 data is not included on this spreadsheet. It has not been released as of yet through OSPI, but once it is, if needed, I'll report it to the superintendent.
So one of the concerns you can see immediately is, you know, Black students going down, Hispanic students going down. And so that's why there's a lot of focus there in our strategic plan and others.
Do you suspect that the students who are Black or Hispanic, the trend will go slightly higher once OSPI releases their data?
I do expect it to go higher once it's released, based on the interventions and supports from our program for last year. So it will be slightly higher, but I do want to note that, you know, those two groups, there's still a lot more work to be done because, you know, those are one of our most marginalized groups.
I was also curious, the data on Native Hawaiians, is that mostly because they are multi-race, or is that because we don't have data on them?
Mostly multi-race, and then the data that we have here is what's available. So I would say a little bit of both.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you have, I think it's less than 10, then they don't report the data, they suppress the data because there's a danger of identifying who the exact student is. So sometimes, yeah, if you see NA or suppressed or something, it's because we don't have enough students in that category to actually report the data.
Understood. Thank you.
All right, so we'd like to share our math passage rates for the 24-25. Our desired outcome for Algebra 1 as far as passage rates for ninth graders, our goal was 73% to move that to 83%. We were at 24-25, 68%. And our goal for the 25-26 upcoming school year is 78%. However, in 24-25, we ended at an average for both semesters, semester 1 and semester 2, right around 68%. And in 23-24, it was slightly higher at 73%. And with that, I do want to note that we did have a higher increase in our newcomers and asylum seekers who required a lot of additional academic support. So we're trying to, do what we can to ensure that we have the proper interventions and supports and resources in place to bring that data back up.
The other thing to understand about especially ninth grade data is it's not just a high school issue, it's a systems issue. So, we need to be in our system looking back at the middle school and elementary school and the supports or math. So when you start putting good supports like in summer school, in the elementary schools, eventually that starts bubbling up into these data as well. So.
So for the 24-25 school year, I'd like to share with you our financial aid completion rates, which is also part of our high school and beyond plan. So you'll see that our total completion rate was 84.9%, based on the scholars who completed waivers and as well as incomplete financial aid. So our goal, moving forward is to have, all scholars as part of their graduation plan, high school and beyond plan, complete either the FAFSA or the WASFA. We did, if you're curious about what the waivers represent, we had a waiver which was an opt-out for families who didn't want to complete either the FAFSA or the WASFA. And had a valid reason due to either scholars attending the military, taking a gap year, or an apprenticeship program, which don't require financial aid applications. So in 2025, that accounted for 28 scholars who completed the waiver, which was around 13% of our graduates. So we have our College and Career Center and our advisory classes. We have other staff who I mentioned, our re-engagement specialists. We're trying to have all hands on deck with supporting scholars with their plans for post-secondary education and scholarships.
Yeah, so just so you know, the FAFSA is the form that you have to fill out if you want to get an income-based scholarship, any of the income-based scholarships in the state. WASA is for the undocumented students, so they can be eligible for it as well. And it's been an interesting one over the years. Last year, this is something that's Washington D.C. puts together, and they kind of messed it up last year. And so I think they've straightened it out, have they, mostly this year? But try to make it, because sometimes this form has been horrendously complicated to fill out and all that kind of stuff, and they're trying to make it easier, and I think they're doing it.
Yeah, and then this year and moving forward, we are holding financial aid nights where families can visit. We have our liaisons and support staff, counselors available to assist if needed for families to be able to complete the documents.
And I will say, I was looking up, so there's the Washington State, what's that? What's the, Student Achievement Council, yeah, Washington State Student Achievement Council, which keeps track of these FAFSA completion rates. It's interesting you're talking about, so they have us for the FAFSA 25 down at 74, you have it at 84. I still sometimes, I don't know why, there's some technical, but the important thing is actually, when I was looking at it, this Foster High School is actually the highest for the FAFSA 2025 of any district in King County, or actually any district in King and Hughes County. And for the first time ever, we've caught Seattle, and Seattle has always been number one because they have the Seattle Promise. They have that Seattle Promise is to guarantee 2 years of tuition at one of the community colleges. And so because of that, they've always been number one year after year after year. We've always done a really good job, but this year we actually caught them, so congratulations. Both at 74%.
They're the best.
74%, and some of that I would attribute to the Tukwila Promise that we got this year. I mean, the College of Gerstead has always done a good job, I mean, for years in keeping us way up there, but we finally caught Seattle, and we actually caught Seattle. And so, you know, there's a lot of great work that's going on, and this is so key because, you know, I mean, 82% of our students qualify for free and reduced, and so the only way the vast majority of them are going to get a college education is by doing this. And so it's just so critical to the rest of their lives. So nice job.
Thank you. So, we should be on 11. I would like to share, our scholarship information for last year, which included our financial aid and scholarships. The class of 2025, we reported at the end of the year, shared a total of 5.3 million in college bound, a total of $5.3 million dollars in total scholarships in college bound. 85 scholars shared over $3.5 million in college bound, and then additional scholarships was 1.8 million for the 25 school year. It differs from class of 2024, which the class shared 7.5 million, and 125 scholars shared over 5.2 million, and in just general scholarships 2.3. So the trends with our reporting of financial aid and scholarships is that, as you see with the decrease or decline, part of the reason for that, I believe, is that we went from having 2 district staff overseeing our college and career down to 1. And so we didn't have a dedicated college and career specialist or counselor at the time. So we have our community partner, which is the Urban League of Seattle, as well as our Year Up specialist who provided a lot of our college and career support through the last year.
So I guess the one question I wanted to make sure, because I kind of follow this stuff fairly closely because it's so important to the future lives of our students, is that, so although there was a decline in the college bound numbers, there was actually we didn't have Tukwila Promise before, and Tukwila Promise was like 55. So, and my concern there is so the Tukwila Promise is a 2-year guarantee. College bound scholarship is a 4-year. I want to make sure, I mean, I think our students should be able to get both. And I just want to make sure that we're not, kind of saying, okay, you don't need to worry about the college bound scholarship, just get the Tukwila Promise. That's not happening. It sounded like what you said is that we lost some maybe because of the lack of staff to push it.
Well, so the Tukwila Promise is the current class at Highline College, so that they wouldn't account for.
This is class of 25.
Yes, because the dollars weren't fully awarded for the class of 25 at the time of this.
The Tukwila Promise?
Correct.
Dollars?
Correct,
Oh.
because we hadn't had all of our scholars enroll fully for the Tukwila Promise.
Right.
So,
right.
Does that make sense? No.
Yeah, well, I'm worrying about, and I guess you explained it, I'm worrying about the reduction in college bound scholarship, because that's been a key one that we've done really well at, and had, and that's a really valuable, it's a 4-year scholarship to anywhere in the state. And I just want to make sure that we didn't, and what you said was you think we've lost that 40 students because of the lack of support staff for it? Is that?
Well, I'm talking about the additional scholarships. So we have like the Tukwila scholarships, different community scholarships that the current staff may not be aware
Okay.
That's what I'm describing. I'm
Okay, so
sorry.
you're not talking about the college.
No,
bound.
I'm not talking about.
So
the
then
college.
the question becomes, okay, why did we lose, why was the reduction? Why was it we dropped from 125, which is, but I've been tracking this for a number of years, we typically hit over 100, and now it's, for this class of 25, it was down to only 85 now. Class of 25, there were fewer students.
And I can tell you, thank you for asking that question. I can tell you, so with the change in the college and career staff, the way that it was calculated, there could be a discrepancy in that.
Okay.
Is what I am suspecting, when I tried to verify the information.
Okay.
And so that could be one of the reasons, is the way that they were calculated.
Okay, yeah, I saw that long description.
But what I'm hearing you say, this is what I'm synthesizing it.
Sure.
Right? That, and I'm hearing both of you, is that we want to make sure, so somehow we need to make sure the message goes to the College and Career Center and the counselors, that even though students are applying for Tukwila Promise, they should still be considered for the college bound. Because when they exit Tukwila Promise and Highline College, they have an opportunity for the college bound scholarship at a four-year institution. That's what you're trying to say, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I captured it, because then I think that's just a communication that we can make sure and double down with our entire team in making sure that they're not losing that opportunity. It's not either or, that it's yes and,
Yeah.
right? And that's what I think, what I'm hearing from you,
Yeah,
correct?
I just want to make sure that's not happening, and if you need to do a little research, that's fine, but yeah,
Thank you.
I mean, we know that we want to have as many doors open to our students as we possibly can.
100%.
Yeah, right, okay.
Thank you. All right, so we'll share information on our dual credit post-secondary enrollment. So our desired outcome was to increase our dual credit in AP enrollment, as well as ninth grade, increase passage rates for ninth graders by 10%. We were able to exceed that goal by 6% for the 24-25. We actually increased from 65, to 71%. So, oh, I'm sorry, we did not. We increased our goal by 6%, but the goal was not met.
Yeah.
And so we have increased our enrollments for our advanced classes, as I mentioned earlier, with including our honors programs. And our goal is to also in the future include more college and high school offerings in various content areas.
So just to be clear, dual credit means the high school credit and college credit.
Correct.
AP is a little iffy in terms of whether you get college credit or not, depends on, but definitely college and we've been shifting more toward college and high school, kind of away from, because that pretty much guarantees that you get college credit, and so.
And the AP is determined based on the test score.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then even after the test, depends on what school you go to.
Yeah.
So we'd like to offer more college and high school programs so that
Yeah.
our scholars have access to.
Well, you didn't reach the 10%. The 6% is a tremendous increase in 1 year. I really think that should be just championed as a great success. Great, it wasn't the goal, but I still think that's a magnificent increase in 1 year.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And we are working with local, we're expanding and we're having conversations with various entities to kind of figure out how we're going to expand college and high school opportunities and what specific content areas are the best ways for our scholars to really think about that. So we're in conversations right now.
The other part of college and high school is, so I guess on the next one, I'm probably jumping in, but the Running Start is another program, but for Running Start, they have to leave campus and go over to Highline College, and they get all the money.
Mhm.
And if it's college and high school, that means our staff has been accredited for high school, for college credit, and they stay in the building, which is good for us, so.
And the other piece to that is, with us offering more programs, we're able to support our scholars more and wrap around them, as far as, resources, supports, whatever they need. And so really that is the goal, is to support them, until they graduate from foster. But it's challenging to do when they leave to go to Running Start.
Yeah, that's another problem when they go over to Highline and they need counseling support, they usually end up in our counseling office. And when they go over there, we only get like 7% of the revenue and the Highline gets the rest of it. So we're having, and that's not, and I've been on this cake with the legislature, we don't get paid enough for that. So college and high school is kind of the answer, one of the big answers to that dilemma.
Does the Running Start also include the Seattle Central or Bellevue College, or is it just strictly Highline?
Highline.
Highline, okay. So 100% of the Running Start students are going to.
Our students are going to scholarship.
That's not true.
In theory, they could go to another place, but then they'd have to do their own transportation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, there are
other
yeah.
students.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, no, some of them go to Bellevue or South Seattle or something.
So our program supports going to Highline, that's our partnership, but if they want to go somewhere else, we work with them, but we have to, it's a different process.
Yes. Thank you, Dina.
And PSSC, if you don't know, that's Puget Sound Skills Center.
Yeah.
Which is, I recommend going over there for a tour
Yeah.
sometime. It's run out of Highline,
Yeah.
Highline School District, but it's, they offer the whole set of more career-oriented programs, vocational kind of construction, dental assistant, dental hygiene. I mean, there's a whole lot of more career-oriented programs that our students can go, and we offer transportation to go over there.
Yeah, and we're part of a consortium with them, so it's Tukwila School District, Federal Way School District, Highline School District, and Mountain Homeless School District. So we're a 4 consortium group so we have to meet quarterly with them and review things, but if you want a tour, I'm happy to support you on a tour.
Yeah, it's a fun place to go.
Yeah.
Is the funds, does that then go to the Highland School District, or how is
Yeah.
that spread?
Yeah, there's it's apportionment there, and then we keep an apportion, but we do recruiting, so, but it's all, in combination. We're trying to make sure as a small district that we offer various opportunities.
Sure.
So we do have CTE courses here, but for example, if somebody wants to get a certificate in firefighting, they can go there, or sound design, auditory, all those kinds of things. They have unique programming there that a student can go through where they can learn in depth over 2 years and end up with a certificate and then walk into a job with a certificate. So it's more uniquely designed in that way to be leading to some type of career path down the road.
And they do have a graduation ceremony for that certificate. I was able to attend that when I was going to Foster, so
Yeah.
it is very.
Yeah, very
And they have a great, actually, I shouldn't say this, they have a great culinary program. You can go actually go. and have
Oh,
lunch
yeah.
Over there. Guys, Foster has a great culinary program.
Yes, they do.
So the slide that's here, I just wanted to share the data based on the advanced courses and the enrollment. So you can see those courses include our AP, or college and high school psychology, AP human geo, and physics. So I just wanted to show the breakdown of the enrollment for you. And then we can go to 16. And you can look here and see the dual credit, again, disaggregated by rate.
So here, there's some really nice upward trends, kind of across the board. A lot more dual credit courses being taken by everybody, which is great.
And we've been intentional, our counselors meet with, all of our scholars for registration, and we've, encouraged them to have conversations with scholars about, their willingness and ability to be able to attend and participate in higher level courses, and then the supports that will be offered to ensure that, they're successful in those classes.
Right.
So there has been an upward trend in the enrollment. All right, so this is our dual credit and post-secondary enrollment, including the AA degrees earned at Highline College for the past school year. So we had 11 seniors earn their AA degree, and as Aidan mentioned, there may be scholars who attend other programs. However, we receive reports from Highline specifically. And so last year we had 72 scholars enrolled, seniors in Running Start. 38 of them were full-time. And this year with our Tukwila Promise, we have 86 scholars enrolled at Highline versus the 23-24 school year, there were 40. So there's been a lot of work and efforts done to promote the Tukwila Promise and Highline partnership, which has been going very well. So I also want to note that we rely on our scholar self-reported data, which is given at the end of the year for our senior survey. And so that's the numbers that you see. The Highline data is reported from Highline College. So the reliability sometimes at the end of the year, scholars don't necessarily know like where they're going to.
Yeah, that's accurate in terms of the number of students that had intended to go to Tukwila Promise, but the actual number that enrolled in the September was 57. That actually like started, got classes, schedules was 57, but that is accurate in terms of like the number of students that intended. We also learned, just to share a little bit, the financial aid component wasn't completely filled out for some of the scholars. So Highline College is working with them to get them enrolled for winter. And I think 12 of them were set to start for winter quarter. So yeah, it's been, I'll just say it was last year was our first year. We're still learning. Right? Principal partner, we're still learning.
It's still going really well.
But it is
going
going
and
well.
then they are enrolling for winter quarter. So it may be higher.
Yeah.
I think with this new light rail station that is just opened up down there in HCC, and of course with the Tukwila light rail station, I think that would, just give the students the freedoms to come back and forth much more easy. I think that there's a lot more opportunity in the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And support for them there. So I'm very pleased with the partnership with
That's
college.
probably one of the big thing is whenever we've had programs over the years that include that support, that cohort support.
Yeah.
We know just within ourselves, that program is very powerful, partly because of the cohort support that they help each other. And when you do that, as opposed to just throw them into some college where they really don't have the support and aren't really familiar, the chances of success are much higher. But I mean, we'll be watching those numbers, these students as they flow through and hopefully graduate, because Highline doesn't necessarily have a great record at graduating students just in general, 50% or so, but this class, I'm pretty optimistic will be higher than that.
I'm very optimistic. We also have Highline staff in the building, 4 days a week at Foster. So that's certainly going to help with the enrollment, with the engagement, and with the support, that transition to the school.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, I'm just a huge fan of Highline Community College, Highline College. And not only did I get my AA degree there, my sisters got their AA degree there. My mother attended there. My uncle, who graduated from Foster High School back in 1862, was part of the first class at HCC. And I just think it's a tremendous resource, and glad that we're really pitching into it and pushing the students that way. Great start.
Awesome.
Yeah, and nicely timed with the light rail.
The students plan that. Well, the students actually are the ones that told us through surveying that they wanted to be closer to home. So, and the ones that wanted to stay closer to home. So I think, I don't know if that's cultural or just family orientation. Other students that are ready to leave, yes, but we had a lot of students say they'd like to stay close to home. So that building our partnership with Highline was by design.
I'll just say personally, knowing a lot of the seniors that did, follow through with the Tukwila Promise, a good percent of them would not have gone to college if that was not available to them. And because of that, they're going to, be able to excel in life. And it's because of you and everyone else that was involved in the making of the Tukwila Promise, that those kids, my friends, will have a better and brighter future. So on behalf of them, thank you.
Great. So Ms. Rokanaki will share an update on our World Language and ML.
Yes. So our scholars get to take the World Language Assessment twice in a year. Once in December It's mainly the juniors and seniors will do the world language assessment in December because they are getting ready to graduate. In spring, our freshmen and sophomores take the world language assessment.
So just a little explanation, this is, I kind of, my baby, because I introduced the policy about 10 years ago to make this possible. But it's basically a program that the state recognizes, and we borrowed from Highline and Seattle on the details of how to make this happen. But if a student already knows the language, and then they can get high school credits for it, they get up to 4 credits for it, high school credits for it. And there's testing for virtually every language on the planet, which I'm always amazed when I go through and look at, the languages that our students are getting credits for. But and our students jumped on this really quickly, and it has lots of advantages. Aside from getting credit, it's also these are students that typically come to, English is probably not their first language. It's a new country. They're trying to figure things out, and all of a sudden they can demonstrate that they have, some valuable skill that their system will recognize them for. That just kind of raises their, self-esteem, and also has the advantage, a lot of them come from families where the elders in the family may not be speaking much English. And so then it opens up a communication line with their elders from whatever language they had. So that's why when we get this, I always recommend including the list of the languages that you provided, because I always, end up looking at it. It's the other thing is the way it help us understand who our students are. So, I mean, one of these, Takasi, defy anybody to tell me what language that is. Turns out that a Micronesian language, it's probably students that came from Guam in Indonesia. We had a lot of, over the years, students coming from Guam, and then this year it was Amharic, which is kind of Ethiopia, and Mandarin, Somali, Spanish, Swahili, Tagalog, and Vietnamese here almost every year. But like I say, so it's kind of a way of kind of getting to know, who our students are and where they came from, which is really interesting.
Would students that were native English speakers, maybe students that are born here, would they also be able to take and get these credits if they were successful in whatever foreign language class they were taking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have, over the years, it's been rare, but we've had some students that are trilingual, so they'll get to there's a bunch of students that came from Turkey, Russia. They were in Russia, but they're Turkish. And so they knew both Russian and Turkish, and so they got 4 credits in each of those. So it's every once in a while we go, I'm always amazed at those students. It's usually you can trace it back to where they came from, and it's there's lots of places that people pick up multiple languages at the same time. So
yeah, this chart is really helpful. I would really like to have. I know you provided the URL.
Yeah, it's
I'm glad you were able. And I was one of the students who got the world language credit for both Russian and Armenian.
Yeah, there you go.
It was really beneficial not having to take Spanish or French in high school.
I will give you the link to this. I have the link. I'll send you the link.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just gonna quickly drop in there. I think, to me, again, being able to speak multiple languages, I think, is crucial. It's been said that you can never be fully educated until you can speak a second language. And probably there's a lot of people who disagree with that, but that having 2 languages or more really is just a tremendous thing. And so just thrilled to see that we're tracking this and encouraging.
Yeah, I also track the number of credits and students over time, and I do notice it kind of, we hit some wild spikes. We're kind of down at the low end. I just want to make sure that we're kind of, if it's being advertised, I know, to some degree, it's going to be tied to how many refugees are coming in. And since this, the border is closed, that's probably, there's reasons for some of these things. I just want to make sure that our students are well aware and can get whatever,
Speak to that. Different advertised by world language. Yes. Yeah, the only thing I just wanted to add to the world language credits is scholars also, so they earn 4 credits in the world language assessment, and they meet all the English credit requirements. for English credits, they earn a seal of biliteracy, which is recorded in their transcripts.
And it's also on their graduation diploma, they're still by literacy, so. I've been on the ERDC for years to kind of show me for the students that get the seal of biliteracy, how they track after they graduate from high school, in terms of where they go, are they more likely to go to college, do they get higher, and then still in an ongoing conversation with it. That would be really interesting to track that, because it's yet another reason. I know when we first brought that up, one of our students, student rep at the board at the time said, well, if I'd known that, she was Vietnamese and she would have been on it like that. And so, anyway.
Yeah, 100% communicating that, and make sure that I think counselors know when they're assigning courses to students that, hey, if you seem like you've known language, then this is an avenue you can pursue as well, rather than having to take a class.
And just to go beyond that, do we have any information posted anywhere around the schools about this, or?
The world language assessment?
Yes.
Oh, yes, it's actually coming up, it's advertised everywhere. Our counselors also communicate that information. It goes out in all of our classes, and so we are expecting a great turnout this year.
Yeah, I'll say, as a student that is speaks English and Spanish. I even, I've been bombarded every single year with take the world language assessment, take it, 50 different emails from Miss Patton. It's very,
that's good.
It's in my face. Very good.
Yeah, for the December assessment we read about, we have to date 86 scholars who've registered. So we've had to do an AM and a PM. We'll be doing an AM and a PM session. So moving on to our amount scholars, as you can see, this past school year we've had 33 scholars exit what we call ML services or English language development services. The previous year we had 29 ML scholars exit services. There's about 3 ways they can exit services. Is if they first enroll at Foster High, they do a reader screener, and a few have exited by just taking the reader screener, or they set the reader assessment in February of every school year. And then the third way is if they pass the English SBA, 10th grade English SBA, they get to exit services as well.
So WIDA is the test that's given to assess whether students need MLL services or not, and whether they're accomplished at a level that they don't need those services anymore. Don't ask me what it is. It's some weird. There's some weird abbreviation that so everybody just says WIDA, WIDA is how you spell it.
And one of the things we want to highlight is our ML enrollment continues to increase. We've had several families, as I mentioned, enroll in Tukwila and then find stable housing elsewhere. However, they still commute to Foster because they want to be there and they feel a sense of belonging is what they share. So the program is going well. All right, so our graduation, I cannot believe we are in December already. Our class of 2025, we had 223 graduates total in that class, 223 in the class and 207 graduated.
We're always at about 200 plus or minus.
And by the way, I'll say we have one of the highest graduation rates in the state for high poverty district as well, but we're up there. I think we're even above the state average. So Nice work, Foster High School.
And our IEP scholars have the option to receive services until the end of the school year that they turn 22. So that's why you see those numbers in the previous slide about scholars returning to Foster.
Yeah, so IEP is individualized education plan. It's the plan that's required for every student that's qualifies for special education services, and there's big, long rules around, I think it's 13 different learning disabilities that you can qualify under, but well, I don't know, yeah, oh yeah, the expert over there, you can talk to our special education services director, and she will be giving presentations. I don't know, you may have even sat in on one or two. That's a whole other area of lots of detail going on.
Right.
But I will say, so Ed has been working on a partnership with Highline College, with Aspire, with lots of programming to support our seniors and making sure that they get access to, internships, job readiness, college, all of those things. So that's part of our responsibility as a district to support especially our 18 to 21-year-olds in their transitions into adulthood, actually, basically. So, yeah.
All right, and so you'll see just our post-secondary plans. This was a class of 2025 reported, self-reported at the end of the checkout survey, just to give you an idea of where scholars are at during that time. We had 210 total responses out of 223, which was our total class.
Most of the 2 years go to Highland, most of the 4 years go to UW.
Right. At Foster, we value all scholars. We take pride in creating belonging and inclusive environments. And so I'm just sharing progress towards our non-binary scholars. Our outcome or desired outcome is for all scholars to be involved in at least one extracurricular activity, feel safe and supported at school, and have an adult that they are connected with in the building. And so what I shared with you is out of our self-identified non-binary scholars, all of them participating in at least one club or activity or extracurricular activity at school.
That's a good thing, because 100% is amazing in anything I can do.
And again, we prioritize inclusion. We do this by acknowledging and honoring preferred pronouns and names. We do have gender neutral restrooms at Foster High School, as well as, again, just encouraging that participation and community belonging. So in our next steps, as we finish out this school year, some of the things that we are focusing on as a school are increasing our collaboration, and that has happened through our intentional planning with our master schedule team. So we have reduced the teacher load by providing fewer preps. We are continuing to improve our access to interventions, as you've heard in our presentation, through MLL, special education, and reading intervention support. We are hoping to increase strength of transcript and provide our scholars choice and opportunity by increasing our college and high school offerings. And again, our honors for all 9th grade, 10th grade, and then college and the high school programs, and want to see a reduction of inequitable tracking through universal design, as well as just additional strengthening our programs and pathways through our programs and our CTE. So some of our areas of growth, most of our goals were met or exceeded. And for some of the goals, as I mentioned, we experienced some minor declines, but our next steps, we are working with the district office and our teachers in the building to continue instructional rounds. As a matter of fact, we have one coming up here on Thursday with some of our members, as well as implementation of our PLC. So really focusing in on our departments partnering and planning PLCs and holding teachers accountable, looking at scholar work, which our teachers do well at, but there's always room for improvement.
PLC is professional learning community.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. We'll also continue our co-teaching model and professional development as a focus for our ML and special education programs. And continue to strengthen our transition plans for our scholars who have individualized educational plans.
So some of the opportunities this year for us has been, just engaging our educators as well and scholars in the portrait of a graduate training, the increase in world language assessment enrollment, and also very excited to mention the launch of our Latino Student Union. So we have a Black Student Union club, but this is a first as far as the Latino Student Union club goes. And our building leadership team is very excited to work with the Education Exchange Impact team to shadow our ML scholars and collect data.
Who is that? Educate EIX, who is that?
They're the Education Impact Exchange, so they are.
They're the
an
group that's
organization
doing the 612 learning labs. They worked with us 2 years ago and based on feedback from our educators and actually looking at data,
Yes.
they were highly successful, especially in the middle school. So, and then 4th and 5th grade. So, when I did the rounds of talking to all of our curriculum groups last spring. So we talked to Curriculum Council, we talked to Special Education Advisory, to MLL Advisory. The teachers overwhelmingly said, and the educators said, that the best professional learning for them was actually having professional developers be in our classrooms with our own scholars in a learning lab format, like it's kind of like lesson study. It's a very popular PD session in Japan. But so they come and spend a week with us in the classrooms, with our teachers, and with a class of 25 educators, really unpacking how do we really truly support ML in core content. So it's like, for example, not in a class away, but in the algebra class, in the geometry class, in the social studies class. So we're starting that this fall. They're coming in. Actually, Foster High School did not get that opportunity 2 years ago. So we wanted to make sure that Foster High School and that would align with our new principal and leader at Showalter, that we join forces and work together and they learn together as a team, because that'll help build that continuity between the middle school and the high school. Super excited about that. We're also doing this in K-5, but we're using GLAD. So Project GLAD is the group coming in with our elementary. They're honing in on really pre through 3rd grade, but doing some 4th and 5th grade work. And then this EIX group is coming in to do 6th through 12th grade. And we're excited. We think it'll be a great opportunity for our educators to learn together, work together, observe together, our teaching and our scholars in real time.
Sure.
So, yes.
And it's so important when you think about the continuity. So we were able to go to the middle school today, as a matter of fact, and then we'll have the middle school teachers and staff participate in labs, and they'll come to the high school.
So next steps for us at BOSTA is to continue to develop plans for ongoing PD, professional development, targeting our goals in math, and for our ML scholars. but particularly focusing our supports for Hispanic and Latinx and Black and African American scholars. So those, the breakdown of the ethnic groups that you saw in the earlier data. And also continue PLCs, peer learning collaboration amongst teachers. And the focus for us is moving forward on UDL, or universally designed learning strategies that's, successful for all scholars. Teachers will, use UDL strategies or tier 1 supports and interventions such as sentence stems, graphic organizers, template frames at tier 1 level, and then move to tier 2 or 3 based on the scholars who need it.
So the tiers, you hear this jargon all the time, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Tier 1 is what kind of everybody gets in the classroom, and tier 2 is need a little more support, a little more focused support, and then tier 3 is even more, 2, sorry, is even, 3, I guess, is even more. It's all part of something, what, RTI response?
Multi-tiered systems of support,
Okay.
MTSS, all the acronyms, so that's the other thing. We will try to make sure, and I think all of us, we forget sometimes.
Yeah.
We will try to make sure that we actually not speak in, education ease. We'll try to break that down a little bit more. There's a lot of acronyms, a lot. Yeah, so, but we'll try to break down some of these things for you. So like right now, you see like right there, it says CIHS, that's actually college and high school. CTE, career technical education. Yeah.
All right. So we'll just share our key learning from our street data. Oh, did we talk about threats? Oh, our threats, I'm sorry. So some of the challenges that we're facing are the availability of translators for our large family events. We do have dynamic family liaisons in our district, but we would like to have more specific focus translators so that our family liaisons can focus on supporting families. We don't want to, use them for translation necessarily. We have a number of staff, and I know that this is across, the state. Attendance is an issue, especially with all these viruses that are going around. So staff being absent, and finding subs for content areas, or when folks are out on long-term absences or extended absences. We're working to maintain our career technical education enrollment so that we can continue to fully fund it and continue to offer additional CTE courses.
Yeah, I can tell you that staff absence, that's a discussion hot and heavy that's going on at the state level, because it's not just us, you're right?
Yeah. As Ms. Rokanaki mentioned, we are always looking at ways to support our Latinx or Latino scholars. And again, we're opting for college and high school versus Running Start, as we shared earlier, to retain our scholars, if at all possible, by offering competitive courses.
And by the way, that's a lot of that is, I mean, it's for a number of reasons, but students for years, I always ask students, why do you do Running Start? One more, challenging credits. And so if you can do that in the building, so much the better.
Yes. And we also, listen to our scholars who are on our leadership team, and advisory board, and we know that that is, something that they've been asking for. So again, that's our goal. Our key learning from our street data, just a couple of things to note for you. We've had over the past several years an increase in attendance with families participating in our open houses and conferences. record numbers. We've had over 300 families attend. Our after-school programs continue to be led by our math department chair, Brendan Carpenter, which continues to show an increased participation and scholars reporting that they have an understanding of math concepts for Algebra 1 and geometry scholars, as well as they've reported an increased confidence in math and passage rates, as I shared earlier, that we are up 6%. Actually received a letter from a scholar recently here telling me how her confidence has been boosted by attending the after-school program and by the support and from the support of Brendan Carpenter. So I just want to shout him out. Out-of-district scholars have reported that they feel a sense of belonging at Foster and that they did not wish to return to their home school. There were some schools that were a school that was under construction in the neighboring district, and we've received quite a few out-of-district transfers because scholars want to remain at Foster. So that's something that
We have meetings every year at the end of the year, parents, students and parents begging to stay at Foster. It's a nice problem to have.
Wonderful problem to have. And then again, as I mentioned, this includes our self-identified non-binary scholars, as well as our scholars. Over 300 scholars participate in extracurricular sports and activities. And this year, we launched our girls flag football, which we had our game last week. And it was so great to see, our scholars come up who had never played any organized sport, be down on the field and engaged. And so it was just a lot of fun. And it was a great turnout. So those are just some of our learnings and takeaways. And that brings us to the end. So please let us know if you have any questions that we can answer, any additional questions.
That was like the robotics team.
Yes.
Any other questions? We probably exhausted them along the way, so that's great.
No, that was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. And Foster.
So now we have the annual organization of the board. So there are, as you guys probably know, there are three positions. There's president, there's vice president, and there's legislative rep. The legislative rep is actually only selected in June of every even year. Right now, I'm the legislative rep. So obviously the president and the vice president walk out the door a while ago. So we can do this a number of different ways. As I mentioned to some, I'm willing to be the president for another couple meetings, if to let you guys kind of get a feel for things, if you want to do that. If somebody wants to step up right away and be president or vice president, it's the president is the one that has more of the work in the sense of running meetings, and then once every 2 weeks you have an agenda setting meeting to set the agenda, and the president is the one who's kind of responsible for if there's communicating for the board. So if you just occasionally get an email that comes in to the board as a whole, needs requires a lot of the things that come into the board get referred to the superintendent because they're operational kinds of issues, but sometimes there's one that comes in and then the president would be the one to speak for the board. So so we can do it. I don't know. What are you guys?
Rock, paper, scissors, or?
Pardon me?
I said rock, paper, scissors.
Are you saying that you're not willing to?
I said I'm willing to be president for the next couple of meetings,
Not for the year.
not for the year, right, because I'm not gonna do both.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not good for, I think, the board as an organization, for one person to be doing everything, and so, but I'm willing to, since we have a transition period here, if somebody indicates, maybe they want to be vice president, they can start working into the process. I've done that before, and that works.
What has been the precedence in the past as far as the board members coming from? the transition period.
Like I say, that doesn't, yeah, that was.
Usually up to the board.
But it's up, yeah, it's all ultimately up to the board, so,
All right, I guess.
you know, everybody's electing, so it's a matter of who wants to.
I'll just share a couple of things like logistics wise. So the board agendas are mostly set for the rest of the year. So we have a document that actually has all of the month by month laid out. Of course, we have a meeting to tweak them. So, but I would say the board actually always votes on the year-long agendas in August. So they do that. So of course, we add things last minute or like if a letter or something. But I just want to say that 90% of the agendas is pretty set and we can take things off or things like that. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, Deb and I meet regularly with the agenda setting group just to make sure, and it's usually the president and or the vice president. We try to make sure one or two members can come. So we can help along that way too. I just wanted to not scare people off on that. The other thing is, so the president and I meet, you know, sometimes, so I offer a meeting with each board member once a month. And then the president and I either meet weekly or bi-weekly, depending on, so to talk about things, or if there's a letter or something that needs to go out or something that we can work together on. So just sharing that as, just letting you know that there's structures and systems in place that can support, the process for, so if somebody, has been on a board before and they're comfortable stepping into a leadership role, then I think we've had that before. Director Simpson actually was not even on the board, what, a month or two, not even a month, and walked right into the vice presidency. Other people want to wait, right, and see how it goes. So I think it depends on your comfort level, but Dave is saying that he's willing to support that person for to do it for the next few months. And then once it's voted on, you can then come in and take it on. You know, we do need to sort of set some officer parameters, or maybe vice president for 6 months or 3 months or something. There's just things, or codes. There's codes, right? So I'm just trying to offer some options for folks because it doesn't have to be as intimidating as it sounds, is what I'm trying to say. We're all here to help, is what I'm trying to say. And we're all one big team and we all will help each other. And I will help, and Deb will help, and Dave will help, and even Reverend Parker, he's not here, he can be a help. So, and my team also is here to help as well.
I was just gonna say, down at that Wausau conference, one of the classes, and I'm sorry, I don't remember this particular class, but they were talking about the difficulty in keeping cohesion when you bring in new people and then put them in the position of officer.
Yeah.
And of course, David, you're firm on, you're not.
Yeah.
My next question is would Director Proctor be willing to be the president? Of course, he's not here, David.
Yeah. The problem, he's so busy with his other job that, you know, my suspicion is he probably wouldn't. So, I mean, like my recommendation, I'm happy to be president for the next couple of meetings. And then if one of you wants to be kind of vice president, then we can start.
So
the transition.
Just a quick question. So to serve during the ensuing year, would that be the president for 1 year and then we do this again next year, or?
Well, what I'm proposing is I can do it for a couple of meetings and then I'll just resign and then we can redo it. Yeah. And it's typically for a year, but you know, I mean, if there's, you can always, you know, step down if there's something happens and you can't do it, then, you know, we can redo it. But yeah, it's typically for a year.
Okay. Well, with no objections, I would be more than happy to do that. As president or VP, but either way.
I would say I would also be interested in a leadership role.
Okay.
But whether or not you want to lead a couple of the first meetings, I'm also fine with that. But.
Yeah, I would be more than happy to. I've done a lot of stuff in my union, so I know, I know a lot of different protocols, especially with Robert's Rules of Order. So,
do you want to do it now, or you want to? I mean,
Sure.
And you, Robert's rules. We're calling all a little bit.
Oh, let's do 1, 2, 3, go. Where? Hi, present, okay.
Okay, so
I will,
you wanna do it right away?
It's always best out of three.
Let's say 2 meetings.
Okay, 2 meetings, okay. So the way
in a
this,
couple months out,
How about if you co-president 2 meetings and then
go.
go from there, then you can resign. That way it wouldn't- See what I'm saying? You know how smart I am?
That wasn't in, there was no time.
that's not really.
Oh, you can't do that? Okay.
So
Okay.
the first thing is, so I need a nomination for president.
I would like to make a nomination for Mitch Forehand to be president.
Oh, you want to go right away?
Well, you were in
For the 2 meetings, right? For the 2 meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, so if the 2 meetings, you know, me to be president, and after 2 meetings, I'll resign, and then we'll do the vice president, you can be vice president, and we'll shift after 2 meetings.
Yes, so.
Okay, so let's start with,
Okay, I would like to make a motion to nominate Mitch Forehand as the new elected president for the upcoming school 2-year
you have to
term.
do president first, and if you want me to be president for the 2 meetings, then that's the first thing. You can do president first and then vice president.
All right, thank you. So I would like to make a motion to have Mitch Forehand be the new.
No, start with president,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, so I would like to have Dave Larson be the new president for the
Okay.
2.
Okay, so that's a nomination. Are there any other nominations?
Oh, I know, can we do it for vice president?
No, for president. Okay, so closing the nominations for president. And we need a roll call vote, so we go down, each person say, you know, do you vote for me as president?
Oh, you're just like.
It doesn't need a second, it's just, we're just nominating, so.
Aye.
So voting, and I vote aye, and
Aye.
aye. Okay, so we have 4 votes for me for president, and now. Vice president. Somebody needs to make a nomination for.
Yeah.
You can nominate for vice president.
Yeah, I would like to nominate Mitch Forehand as the vice president.
Okay, so do we have any other nominations for vice president? Hearing none, now we go down the road, that will vote for who should be vice president, should Mitch Forehand be vice president?
Aye.
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 Okay, so we're done. For the next couple meetings, I will be president, she'll be vice president, and then so in the agenda meetings, we'll have probably both of us, you know, during the transition period, and then we'll. And
At
then,
least one in transit, like, as soon as we go through that, the setting meeting, it might be there.
yeah.
Just
No,
kinda
definitely, definitely.
Well, would you,
Okay.
it was just the vice president, the president, the agenda. Yeah, it'll be fine.
Okay, that's done, and then the 6th is, so the cannabis shop letters, I wanna wait and I'll have a meeting with our superintendent or our transportation director and find out some more details on that, so I'd like a motion to postpone this till January.
So
Okay, so moving second, that we postpone this item until January, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, now we're down to, is there any other public comment? Yeah, in person?
Mr.
Mr. Duffy?
Yeah,
Please,
okay. Do I come up front?
yes, no,
Come right here.
so you get on the microphone.
Good afternoon, my name is George Evans, I'm Tuckahoe Elementary School Best Advice. I have 2 questions I want to ask. Number one, what do you do about the kids that do not graduate? Do y'all continue work on them, or they don't graduate, or you just drop them out of sight? What's the next procedure with them?
So Principal Parker, usually we don't public comment, but I will just on today make an exception. Because on her presentation, she showed where the students, many of the students that didn't graduate from Foster High School, the majority of them, not all, were special education scholars. And she also shared how many of them returned back to the school, so that they're allowed to come back to the school.
Oh.
And I think out of all of the students that didn't graduate, there's only 2 that did not come back. Is that correct, or 1? One of all the, yeah, she's the principal, yeah.
Oh.
Of all the scholars, so they're offered the opportunity to come back, credit recovery, take courses, and then graduate. They can sometimes graduate in the middle of the year, end of the year, but they are offered to come back and continue their coursework.
Oh.
Yeah, but one of her data from last year, of all the students that didn't graduate, only 1 did not return.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right, sounds good.
and I'm only speaking because we just presented that, yeah.
Okay. Well, I saw that up there, but I didn't see it, and I would just,
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
you know, this, like I said, I'm gonna have to be honest, this is my first board meeting I've been to.
Oh,
And,
awesome.
yeah, this is it, and
Congratulations.
and I am impressed what I saw tonight, and I just hope that it would continue on for our school. This is the great, best, and brightest school there is, and I would just like for it to keep going. And, you know, and I will just say how I feel, whether you like it or not, I will give you my opinion.
I expect that
And so-
100%. I appreciate it.
And so that's what I wanted to know. I just wanted to know what happened to our kids with Joe.
Good questions.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. Now I will be back. So you will expect me more, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love it.
I'm not seeing anything.
Okay, yeah.
So there's probably.
I got it. Oh, yeah, okay. Mr. Camacho.
Thank you. Is that the entrance? That's the entrance. Mr. Pronto, Willow resident, teacher at Foster High School. Just wanted to quickly invite the new board members in January on the 29th. It's going to be a Thursday. We're going to have our second CTE advisory meeting. CTE is our career and technical education program, where we have the opportunity to offer dual credit programs like what you've heard about today, and more vocational training. This is going to be like career training. Students also have the opportunity to earn certificates like what they earn at PSSC at Foster High School. There's some great work that's already being done by one of our new teachers, that's Mr. Karen Freed. He's making a lot of community connections, specifically with the Southside Chamber of Commerce, getting more businesses connected with our students by offering internships and bringing back our program where students earn high school credits for the jobs that they're currently working. So getting that program back on, that's our work site learning program. Additionally, I am really inspired by Mr. Duffy's enthusiasm. He was at our last CT advisory meeting. And the main message I got is we can't sit around, we have to do things to make sure that there are opportunities for students, especially to encourage them to join the trades. Because what I've heard from our industry partners is we need more folks joining in on the trades. So what does it look like for the Toccoa School District and for the board to invest more into our current tech ed programs? When I look at Renton, when I look at Kent, when I look at Highline, I'm seeing an explosion in their CTE programs. Even our neighbor district, Highline, what they've done with their high schools is they're now at Tyee, it's focusing on health sciences. They have like specific CTE pathways offered at each of the schools. Maritime high schools all around maritime careers. So looking to better support the growth of our CTE programs, not just at the high school, but I'm seeing more CTE programs at the middle school too. So it's an awesome opportunity to learn about the programs that we have and to meet some of our community partners who are invested, like Mr. Duffy, in getting more of our students in the trade. So that's going to be on the 29th of January. Yeah, did I say July or?
January.
Did I say January? Okay.
Yeah, and it's at Foster High School.
It's going to be at Foster High School, and if you're unable to attend in person, we also have a, do you have it on your calendar?
I'm pulling it up right now.
I think it starts at 6.
January 29th, it's not popping up, oh yeah, here it is, sorry, it's right here, 6 p.m., January 29th at Foster High School, meeting room number 2.
Great, yeah, last time we met near the main office, it's easy to see when people come into the building from there, especially if the library is still closed. So And if you're unable to join in person, we do have a virtual option too. I think having more folks, this last meeting, we had so many folks attend. I think that's what's bringing some power to our program, is the more folks who get invested in our CT program, the more we can grow it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved to second to adjourn, so move or adjourn. Thank you.
So.